wow, trying to film myself in the landscape orientation. I'm really out of practice with it, and usually I'm wobbling. I'm usually filming with the phone in like a tripod-y thing or something, you know, it's secured in something. But this is me doing my solar return spread. I'm going to maybe tweak it a little bit. I've got some ideas to tweak it. I've done the same thing for the last 2 years for my 41st and my 42nd birthday. I've just had my 43rd birthday. So I'm gonna just sort of change it up. It's my own spread that I have put sort of hodgepodge together from a number of different ideas, because just having the year ahead spread with just the 12 cards just really wasn't doing anything for me, and I think that's why I always struggled with it. So I sort of came up with my own thing that I Frankenstein together, and it's been working great, but I think I'm gonna try something a little different with it this time. So I thought I would try and document this process. I will do the reading, like shuffling the cards and laying them out. I'll probably do, oh no, actually maybe I can set up my, I'm just thinking I've got a tripod, an actual tripod I could try and set up and have it, I'm sitting on my bed, because really trying to do it on my desk often I run out of space. I end up laying it out on my desk, clearing my desk and laying it out to take a picture that I can put in my tarot journal and also like have on my phone to refer to. But when I've found that sitting on my bed is a lot more comfortable. My bed is a lot bigger than my desk, so I have more space to play and to read. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll show you my little altar. I've got my altar set up for my reading. I don't do this for every tarot reading. This is just for like solar return, or like really, yeah, actually really only for solar return do I go full like send with like my poppet, my personal poppet that I made years ago. And stuff like that on my altar, but I will show you that now. The thing is, it's getting quite dark, so it's going to be quite difficult to see, but you'll see I've just got some illuminator candles because it is going to get dark. I've got some Nag Champa. Nag Champa is my preferred incense for reading, and when I'm doing offerings or rituals or things, I tend to use like an incense warmer. But for tarot readings, if I'm doing anything more than anything daily or weekly, I don't do like incense because I just can't be asked, to be quite frank. But if I'm doing like a monthly spread, month ahead spread, like a lunar, any kind of lunar spread, Esbat spread, Sabat spread, anything like that reading, I say spread, it could be with tarot, it could be oracle, it could be Lenormand, it could be with my charm casting, it could be any kind of form of divination, it could be pendulum. I've got the nag going, I've got my little poppet, and this is always, I always have the moon phase, just that's always there. These things at the back are for my daily offerings. Obviously there's a cauldron and my singing bowl. But there's just my little setup, and I will just show you the mess that is my bed. So yeah, this is the mess that is my bed. There is my old dressing gown, which is now a blanket for my dog. My spouse is out walking Dr. Nomi at the moment, but they promise to be quiet when they get in, because they'll probably get in whilst I'm still in the middle of this. This usually takes at least an hour to do. I've got some books. I've decided to pull out one of these. I've had this notebook for a year, but it's I'm going to use it as my tarot journal. I realized one of the reasons that I'm not using this tarot journal anymore is because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the fucking sight of it. I've been using it on and off for several years. I hate spiral bound generally as a rule. I hate it with a fiery passion, and I think part of the reason I don't want to use this is that I don't like it. This was a birthday gift from a very well-meaning family member who I love so much, but I just, if this wasn't spiral bound, it wouldn't even be so bad. But I just don't want to like show personal stuff, but like the paper, like these big K's like get in the way, like I end up writing over them or writing around them, and I hate it. The paper quality is bobbins. I mean, there's not that many pages left, so I'm like, do you know what, fuck it, I don't care. I'm moving into another one. It's A5. I'm realizing A4 is too big for me, A5 is too small. I'm becoming a B5 girl. no, B5s. I like B5s and B6s. I'm really enjoying those as sizes. So I've gone from an A cup to a B. And then I've pulled out the decks. I've got my card from last year, which was Temperance, which was my personal card. I know that last year was actually, what was it? Was it a lover's card last year, like collectively? I'm using the Spirit Animal Oracle again. I've got the Weaver's Oracle. It's in that black bag. I've decided to read with the Fyodor Pavlov and the Tarot of Prague as my tarot decks, because I need 2 tarot decks for this. And there will actually a 3rd tarot deck to denote my cards for the whole year, like as in the overarching card. And do you know what else I thought was quite fun? I pulled out, I've got some fortune cookies, so that I sometimes serve with my, you know, when I cook a lot of Asian fusion. I'm really into Asian fusion cooking, so I sometimes have little fortune cookies. So I've decided to pull one of those. I've got my bag of runes. These are my stone runes, not my wooden runes. And I've also just put aside the Literary Witches Oracle, because I've been absolutely fucking loving reading with this combined with the Fyodor Pavlov so much. I have my lemon oil, which I will be sniffing to get myself, don't worry, I won't be applying it, I'll be smelling it in order to sort of get me into the zone, because I'm a lazy witch, and I still haven't made another sort of roller oil to use as anointing oil when I do my daily offerings or any kind of, you know, magical work or tarot reading. So what I do to get myself into the zone is sniff lemon oil, because I find it very uplifting and it clears my head. I've also got a lovely blend of tea here. This is a herbal blend of tea that is calming and soothing and everything. So I might have to put the overhead light on, or the big light as we call it here in the UK. I don't know what you call it in other places. I've got my hot water bottle because I have back pain. I've got my little what's that, magnifying glass, so I can look at details. But yeah, so that's what we're going. We've got some pencil cases full of pens, obviously, because, you know, I tend to be I've gotten quite messy in my tarot journal, because I found trying to make it fancy was a barrier to me actually, you know, using a tarot journal a lot of the time. And as soon as I just went, you know what, fuck it, just get the shit down out of my head and into the paper, it's helped me sort of be, you know, use it more, other than it being an ugly book that I hate and is impractical, because it's, I mean, so yeah, I might pimp this out. If I really do start using this as my tarot journal going forward, I'll probably get some stickers. I might actually attach some charms to the little ribbons. You know, I might paint the insides to make them look pretty, make it more art journally. We will see. I mean, the outside base, don't get me wrong, the outside will look pretty, and, you know, the inner paper's just here. The rest of it will be a hot mess, and that's okay. It's okay. Hot messes are okay. I'm a hot mess. I'm all right. So yeah, I'm just going to see what the light is like with the big light on, what the video quality is like with the big light on. Okay. Let me get situated. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing with all these different decks and systems for the reading, and then I will get myself into a relaxed and sort of receptive state to do the reading, and I'll probably sort of do like some time lapse with music for that particular bit, and then I might come back at the end and just show you what the results were. So for this reading, I use a couple of oracle decks, and this reading was sort of developed so that I could also have a way of working with the Weaver's Oracle by Carolyn Hillier. And what I do is the first, actually, tell a lie, I'm going to backtrack, because I've actually got it drawn out here, and I've got the prompts on the back for each one. So the first cards that we have to the side is the card of the year. So for example, last year I used the Next World Tarot, I don't know how well you're seeing this on screen, as my card to have up on my altar pretty much all year round, and the card for me, personal card, was Justice. I wasn't looking at the collective card, which would have been the Lovers. This year is no, tell a lie, was the Chariot. Sorry, I'm getting confused with what year it is. So hang on, yeah, this year is Strength or Justice, depending on which system you use. I tend to use Marseille these days, but I do also have a foundation in Smithway, so I'm actually going to be working with both Strength and Justice or Force for the year of 2024, because I think that they work nicely hand in hand, and they are also both personal cards for me. So my personal tarot birth card is the Star, but when you reduce the star down, 7 plus 1, or 1 plus 7 rather, for 17, you get 8, which makes, depending on the system you are looking at, Strength or Justice. So it felt pertinent for me to include both of those cards in this solar return spread, because they are personal cards for me also. So the card for the collective cards, that's those two covered. And my personal card for this year, going off of Temperance, is now the Devil. So I have pulled the Devil, Il Diavolo, from the Tarocchi by Mr. Freeborg. So we have an Italian depiction. Again, I don't know how well this is going to be showing up. This is more to just talk through. It's not really going to be showing you close-ups until the end of the spread, and I might try and film sort of past the camera, the phone over the cards. So yeah, so my personal card for the year is the Devil, and that would usually go to the side of the reading, and then I will have a depiction of the Devil from a tarot deck up on my altar the entire year. So every day when I'm sitting down to do my offerings, I am seeing that Devil card, and it's a constant reminder. And every time I'm doing a tarot reading at my altar, which is where I tend to do like my smaller, quicker readings, that's going to be, I'm going to be seeing that. And because, again, like I said, Strength and Justice, so these two other cards, I might change the deck. I mean, last year I kept this one the whole year because I have a pocket version of this as well, but I don't really have any other duplicates, so I'll probably change these up. I just felt that these particular decks had a really nice aesthetic. They played really nicely together. So yeah, so this year I have 3 cards of the year, 2 collectives, 1 personal, but also technically 2 personal, going by like the reduction of my birth tarot card. Wow, this is, I don't know if this is interesting to people, but I have had some people ask about my year ahead reading, and I've only ever sort of recreate, like I haven't shown the actual process of me doing it. So hopefully this is helpful. The next 4 cards that you get, so cards 2, 3, 4 and 5, are for me Weaver's Oracle, because I work with 1 weaver per quarter, so that's 1 weaver every 3 months obviously. I have taken out all of the weavers. I don't even know if you can see me. I am talking to the camera, and for all I know I am like cut off. Should we lift it up a tiny bit and see? I don't know. I've taken out the weavers that I have worked with the previous 2 years, for the previous 2 solar return spreads that I've done this for. So there are 8 weavers here that I have worked with, because I don't want duplicates. I'm going to keep going doing that. This, hopefully, the aim is, if I'm lucky enough to live you know, around to see it, it's to continue doing this until I have worked with every single weaver, which is quite a feat, I think. I can't remember how many cards are in this deck off the top of my head, but I've done 8 and by the end of this year it will be 12. Right, so that's, those are out of the way. Okay, so that's separated out. Those go across the top. Of course, you could use any tarot or any oracle deck. I guess you could use a tarot deck as well, I suppose. I've put aside the Literary Witches Oracle. On second thoughts, I think it's getting a bit too bloated, and I think I would prefer to work with the Literary Witches on a bit more of a day-to-day or week-to-week basis as I go. So I've knocked that on the head, but I do think that's a good option. If you don't have the Weaver's Oracle and you're not sure what deck to use, you could go with, you know, you could go with the Literary Witches and pull a writer and an item card for each quarter, or maybe a writer and 2 item cards, or you could pull a writer and the item cards, then pick out the item cards that go with that writer. There's many different ways you can do with it. If you don't want to do that, you could use, maybe you really like working with plants, maybe you really like working with animals, any oracle deck, and then you've got like a plant to work with and an animal to work with. You could combine them. I mean, you do you. This is meant to be fun and adaptable, but I particularly just tend to use the weavers. So that goes across the top. We then come to our first tarot deck. So the first tarot deck is like using it for a sort of a general reading that is looking back at the previous year and looking forward to the current year that we're me going into. This is a solar return spread for me. This is for my 43rd birthday, but this is for the whole year. I come back to this reading over and over again, and it really gives me loads of stuff to pick over, to mull over, to work with. It really gives me some like juicy stuff to chew on. So I can't remember what my point was. Oh, so yeah, so this middle bit is like a bit of like an actual kind of tarot reading, like that you would recognize just generally, just more regularly. Does that make sense? I don't know. So I'm going to be using for that particular part of the reading, the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. I'm using Smith-Waite based because I feel a lot of these cards are going to be pulled in isolation rather than taken so much together a lot of the time, and a narrative deck or a sort of storytelling type of deck rather than a pippish deck can work a bit more with that, or with positional spreads rather than open reading, which I tend to do with pips and Marseille. So we have several positions. So the first card will be a lesson that a lesson from last year, a lesson from my year from 42 to 43. The next card would be something to let go of. The third card is something to begin doing or to sort of embrace. I'm looking at my notes because I do this once a year, and this is only the third time I'm doing it, so I don't always remember it off the top of my head, despite coming back to it over and over. And then we have something to carry over from last year as well. The next one is a challenge or an obstacle you might expect to sort of face or need to overcome this year. The next card is my goals or focus at present, and then the final card is opportunities that may present themselves. So that's this, I don't know, again, so this is the weavers at the top, or whatever deck you're using. This middle bit is that more sort of classic tarot type spread that you would see. Here at card 1 is our card of the year. Obviously this year we've got those 3 that I showed you. And then we get our second tarot deck comes into play here at the side. And what I have done, you'll see I've got the Tarot of Prague by Bubba Studios, a really beautiful deck here. It's so beautiful. I don't know if you can see the foil stamping, glinting, but it has been divided up into the trumps, the aces, the pips, and the courts. I got it the wrong way around there. So I pull a single card from each pile, and that creates that line down the bottom. And then the final little bits is I pull an oracle card for the year. The first time I did it, I pulled a card from the Empty Cup Oracle and worked with that like concept for the year. And then last year I worked with an animal. I worked with the Spirit Animal deck by Wild Unknown. I only have the pocket version. Oh, that's upside down. So I will work with an animal energy, like the idea of an animal, the energy of an animal for the entirety of 2024. Last year, my animal was Swan, and it actually felt quite apt because a lot of the time I was trying to sort of, on the outward world, not necessarily always on my channel, but like just in the outward world with family and friends, trying to like maintain a certain air of, yes, I can do this, everything's fine, and underneath like panicking. Felt very apt actually, but there was some lessons there to do with grace and so on and so forth, creativity and the waters of creativity. And then the final little thing that I grab is a rune, and that rune goes on my altar next to my little moon phase cards that I have there, and that sits on my altar for the entire day. I have wooden runes as well, and if I want to read with these runes, I don't read with runes very often. I'm not au fait with them by any stretch. I always have to look up what I'm pulling. Then I yeah, I can just grab it off my altar and put it back in, because I'm sat at my altar when I'm reading most of the time. Anyway, and finally, the final one, the pièce de résistance for this reading this year is going to be opening the cookie. So, yeah, I'm going to get all settled in and start doing this, because otherwise it's going to get on, it's, you know, it takes me a bit of time. So I will probably time lapse a bunch of this, because it's going to be proper boring to see me sitting contemplating over time. I'm going to have to blow out that I'm going to have to blow out the what's the word, the incense. I don't know, maybe it's going to go out quite soon, because I've got the window open. I always have to have the window open and make sure Dr. Nomi's not in here, but the wind is actually blowing the smoke in my direction today, which is not ideal. So I'm going to get stuck in, and like I said, once I get stuck in, it's going to go into time lapse, and I'll come back to you at the end in some way. So yeah, enjoy. Okay, so here's the whole thing in its glory. And I will show you why I was laughing in a moment. But I realised I forgot one of the cards in the main central tarot reading for the first deck. And it's my my goals or focus at present. So something to start paying attention to currently. Which I missed off. And if you look, that there's the major and the ace, the minor and the court, they actually all have their own little thing. So I'll go through it anyway when I start showing you each of the cards, so you can pause that if you need to. And I'm just going to turn over so you can see So obviously this is 2022 when I was 41. So I've just kept pulling this out of the, I can slot it in and out of that ring bound, not ring bound, spiral bound notebook. But I won't be doing that anymore. So I'll have to draw up a new one of these for my new journal. So yes, so I got the 4 weavers at the top, one for each quarter. I've got Rain, Weathered Woman of the Brimming Bowl, which I feel very appropriate because I absolutely love rain. It's my favourite weather, honestly. I next have Lake, Songi of the Moon Woman. I then have Horse, Ancestor of the Distant Shrines, and the 4th one is Night, Crone of Doorways, and this will be for this will be like November, December, January again. So this is really interesting that this is going to be for the winter season coming up, like the next winter, which is interesting. Obviously at the side here we've got the 3 cards of the year. So the actual card of the year for me, which is the Devil, and then Strength and Justice. And then here's that central reading. So the first card is a lesson from last year, which is the Hanged One or the Hanged Man. And then I've got something to like let go of this, and it's the Justice card. So that's interesting for someone such as myself. The middle card here, oh god, the neighbours out the back are being loud. I'm sorry if you can hear that, but it's London and I live in a busy area. This card here is something to begin or embrace, and it's the 8 of Pentacles, which makes me a little nervous, honestly. Something to carry over from last year is the fucking Tower. I'm sorry, what? I hope it's not actually, it's saying this is for something me to actively bring over. Last year was a shit show, so I'm hoping that doesn't mean this year is also going to be a fucking disaster. I'm hoping this means more about sort of shaking up foundations and breaking down existing things. I don't know, let go of maybe let go of official, like trying to do things the nice way and fucking fuck shit up, which current situation feels very appropriate. And then we have these 2 cards here. This one is a challenge or an obstacle, and I have the 9 of Cups. Very interesting for me, honestly, for personal reasons. And then my goals or my focus at present is the Knight of Cups. Again, quite interesting for me because I am a daydreamer. And the final card here is opportunities, and I actually have the 6 of Wands. You know, the victory card, which is pretty cool. And then down the side here we have the Trump, the Ace, the Pip, and the Court card. So for the Major Arcana card, the Major is meant to represent a central theme or lesson for the year, and it's the Wheel of Fortune, which I feel with the like fucking Justice and the Tower is like pointing to some big shit. We have for the Ace is the main energy to focus on, and it's the Ace of Wands, which I had last year. Which for me is passion and creativity, which feels very apt along with like this idea of the work and the daydreaming. And then my Pip card, which is you know, advice to guide me through the year. It's the fucking 8 of Coins, the 8 of Pentacles again. So we've got double 8 of Pence going on, which feels like it's just reiterating what it's telling me. And then my my Court card is an attitude to cultivate this year, and this year I have the Page of Swords. Interesting. So yeah, that's that. My animal card, if you let me going what the fuck, is the zebra or the zebra. We call them zebras here in the UK, but I do actually think zebra sounds nicer. And this is my rune, and I don't know if this is the way up. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be this way up, but I could not tell you what this rune was for love nor money. 20 years ago I could have, but I don't work with it enough now to be able to tell you. I'm going to have to look that up. And I forgot to pull my rune book out because, you know, I'm smart like that. And then finally, the thing that really tickled me at the end was I got my fortune cookie, and my fortune cookie says, "You were born to be a star." I don't think that means that I'm gonna like suddenly find some stardom and fame this year. That's not really what I would want anyway. But I do think the thing that made me laugh is that I was born to be a star, in the sense that my birth card in the tarot is the star, and that's what I'm taking it to mean in the context of like the tarot is I am the star, and that ultimately for me, if you boiled it down to one word, would be hope. So that's really interesting, because I think hope more than anything is what I need more of going into this new solar year, this next solar return. So yeah, I'm actually now going to get my journal out and write this all down, because this is going to be, you know, referred back to again and again throughout the year. And what I'll probably do tomorrow, when it, you know, it's daylight again, because it's now getting dark out, I will set this all up on my desk neatly and take some nice, easy to see photos of the whole thing, and then each little piece of it in isolation as well. I guess if you didn't have a huge amount of room, you could sort of put these in like 4 as well, I guess, to like that, and maybe, you know, put this along like this if you didn't have as much space. It's just the way that I happened to lay it out at the time, I don't know. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed that. I'm going to keep all the like writing it down and the like reflections, initial reflections, private, because, you know, it's private. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of this video, like of like sort of just vloggy filming what I'm doing as I go, and whether you found this useful as an idea, as a concept of a reading for the solar return or a year ahead, and whether you do something similar, or whether you've tried this before, because I did post about this spread last year, or if you would like to try it when it is your birthday this year. Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for your time and you know, for watching this video. And yeah, I hope that wherever you are safe and well, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.